So one of the key skills when it comes to surgery is holding and using ringed instruments properly. Now, a ringed instrument is an instrument with rings on the handles that you're going to put your fingers through. Now, to hold this properly, your thumb is going to go in the first ring, and your ring finger, get it, ringed instrument, ring finger, okay? Your ring finger is going to go in the second ring. Your middle finger will go in the little notch just above that ring, and then your index finger is actually going to sit alongside the shaft of the instrument itself. So it gives some support. That gives you the support as you're using the instrument. So this is the proper way to hold a ringed instrument, with the ring finger in the hole and then your middle finger sitting just above that one ring. Now, where you position the rings on your fingers is important as well. What you're going to do is you're going to put it through to just about the first knuckle on your thumb and just about the first knuckle on your ring finger. You don't want to go past those first knuckles, because if you're holding it way down here, that's going to cause it to get stuck and you don't have quite as much control. So just about at that first knuckle is the best position for your fingers in those rings. Now, these instruments come with a little ratchet that you can lock closed with a little click, and that holds the tips together so you don't have to constantly apply pressure with your hands. The ratchet does that pressure applying for you. So when you're preparing these instruments to hand to the surgeon, you're always going to latch it to the first ratchet. There are actually several links in that ratchet. You can go to the second or even the third. The third one gives you a lot of grip. It holds it nice and tight. You don't want to do that for the surgeon. You want to keep it kind of loose. So just go to that first ratchet. That way there's only one link holding the two sides together, and that's going to be enough to secure it, to hold it together as you're passing it to the surgeon, but also enough that it's easy enough to open. Just that single latch, it's easy enough to open for the surgeon when she goes to use it. Now, closing these is pretty easy. You just sort of click it together. But opening them, well, all right, that takes a little bit of practice. You have to do it with a special technique to get it to open properly. Because of the way the ratchets are set up, you can't just pull it apart. It's designed not to pull apart. So the first step to opening these is to actually squeeze them together slightly so that the teeth are no longer latched together, so that the teeth are now past each other. After you squeeze it together slightly, you're then going to pull the two sides of the latches apart laterally, separating the two sides from each other. Then, with the teeth in this position completely separated, you can then open the ringed instrument. And when you do this properly, there shouldn't be any resistance when you open the instrument. There shouldn't be any pop. There shouldn't be any little snap as the instrument's opening. It should just glide right open. That means you're doing it properly. But this skill takes some practice. So I recommend, if you can, borrow a ringed instrument, take it home. But if you can't take one home, I recommend just buying one, just so you have one. You can get them on the internet. You can get them at like Scrubs and Beyond, or other places that sell scrubs for medical workers. They have a few of these around. You can buy a ringed instrument and just practice with it. Practice opening and closing, opening and closing. And this is going to get your hand used to that particular method. Once you get pretty good at doing this with your dominant hand, in this case, my right hand, once you get pretty good at that, now switch over to your non-dominant hand. You're going to find that it feels a lot different, because the way you have to press on those rings to get them to separate is going to be a slightly different technique than what it was with your dominant hand. So practice again with your non-dominant hand. Why is this important? Because many times during surgery, this hand is going to be busy retracting or doing something else, and you're going to have to use your non-dominant hand to open or close these instruments and then pass them to the surgeon. So practice both with your dominant hand, opening and closing a lot of times. It's going to build up those calluses. And again, with your non-dominant hand, opening and closing these ringed instruments to get used to being able to do that very smoothly without any issues.